Welcome back to another edition of the 1 Week Wonders here on Big Guy Fantasy Sports Network. We're going to talk about the Week 2 1 Week Wonders. How did we pick them? Who did we pick? We're going to find out after this. Also, how did the Week 1 Wonders do? They've actually done pretty well. We'll talk about them next. All right, we're back. Week 2 of the 1 Week Wonders. It's Monday night. Some Monday night games already starting. Of course, I'm Bob Lung with Big Guy Fantasy Sports. That is, of course, back to his usual slot. Ron Rigney pimping out his Colts because they are 2-0, baby. Hey, folks, tell the Denver Broncos you're not allowed to jump off the back of other players to block a field goal. Just saying.
And
Forever. I don't know. Everybody
I was going to
loses
say,
their mind.
how are you a professional special teams player and you do not know that? But hey, whoever that was, I don't know who it was, but thank you for not knowing that rule and allowing us to have two chances at it. So here we go.
Yeah, and your kicker seems pretty good, other than from 60 yards. But then that's a tough road to hoe. So
It's
we'll
all
give
right.
some love there. But yeah, so we are back for Week 2. Obviously, the concept of this show, obviously, as the season goes along, we're going to get more and more into this. But the 1 Week Wonders are talking about the folks that probably weren't in a starting lineup, may not even been on an actual roster at all, and blew up this week. That's all great, but guess what? You probably didn't have them in your lineup, may not even have them on the team. Maybe a waiver wire worthwhile. That's what we're here to help you with the decision of do you go get them, if they are out there, if it's possible to trade for, if they're on the waiver wire, and are they worth it? Do we believe they can go forward with their consistency? So, Ron, you weren't here last week, but obviously your boy, DJ Indiana Jones, which is my favorite name now, is on fire. Last week, he was our number one, our Week 1 Week Wonder. But guess what? He's not a 1 Week Wonder anymore. He's now like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a two-hit wonder out there. Tears for Fears. Let's go with that. But he right back up there again, 7th in total points, 22.8, 3 of 16 passing. He threw a touchdown, ran a touchdown. Not the monster week last week, but definitely earned his clutch game. So he's still at 100%. Gotta love that. But Ron, we're looking at this week's 1 Week Wonder, and there were quite a few to choose from. We had Russell Wilson, who was 2nd overall. We had Mac Jones filling in for Brock Purdy, ended up 5th overall. We had Spencer Rattler, 21.7, 10th overall. And then we slowly went down from there. Probably the clutch game cutoff is around that 19 spot, so they didn't leave a lot of other ones. But I picked the Russell Wilson, number 2 overall, 3 passing touchdowns, 450 yards passing. So if you had any concerns with the pass defense for the Dallas Cowboys, have no more, because you should be starting your quarterback every week against this team because they are bad. Russell Wilson lighting them up for 450 and 3 touchdowns. Ron, I said in the article that it will actually be on Big Guy Fantasy Sports that I don't think if anybody expected a shootout here, they were lying. 2 not great teams, 2 offenses were Giants were terrible the first. We got manhandled by the Commanders. Cowboys did okay against the Eagles, but then they didn't have Jalen Carter, and they still put up barely 20 points. I thought for sure this was going to be a blah game. Didn't think much of it. Maybe you didn't, and in your DFS you put all kinds of players like that. My thought is you probably didn't. So what are your thoughts on Russ Wilson? Can we move forward believing in him? Or is this they'll play the Cowboys one more time, so save him for that week?
How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? You know,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, man. Like you said, I think that this is going to be somebody we're going to start picking on that defense in our DFS lineups coming up. But it's going to be tough to trust Mr. Dangerous because we haven't seen these kind of games for a long time. I mean, again, 77-point total. I don't think that Vegas quite had that one uh, ready to go for bets on Sunday. But
Yeah.
coming up, they got Chiefs, Chargers, Saints. Okay, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again, Niners, Bears. Yeah, it looks like some pretty rough skating for our guy Dangerous. And again, he's got Malik Neighbors, he's got Wandale Robinson, but beyond those two guys, there's not a whole hell of a lot that's going to strike fear in a lot of defenses. And plus, they got a guy that was the darling of the preseason, breathing down his neck and Jackson Dart. I think at some point it's gonna start going south, and they're gonna want to see what they got with Jackson Dart. So I wouldn't get too optimistic. I don't know if you can. I don't know if somebody's willing to you're will in your league will buy high on Russell Wilson, but if this is the time, if there's ever a time, the time is now. But man, that schedule looks a little rough to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, more quarterbacks are dropping. They're dropping like flies out there.
Yeah,
Holy cow!
yeah.
So Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels owners are now all panicking. Again, I think if I had to choose, I'd probably take Indiana Jones before I take Dangerous. But yeah, it's and oh, by the way, the Giants play Dallas at home in Week 18 in New York in January. So not sure that's going to be 77 points that week. But so if you're waiting for that upcoming game against Cowboys again, I would not wait.
Mm.
It's not even going to be part of your fantasy season probably. All right, Ron. So we're going to go back to you. So we're looking at the running back positions. We've got, it was a pretty normal week. I mean, most of the top guys were there. Javonte
Mm-hmm.
Williams came back strong again. Ramondre Stevenson was certainly one. I'm like, yeah, he might be on people's rosters. Probably not starting because everybody was in love with, Travion Henderson. Then we got. Not a lot until we get down. I mean, we got Cam Scadaboo came in there, Bhayshul Tuten, Dylan Sampson, maybe sneaking in. It depends on the cutoff. Probably not. We may be. But there wasn't a lot of 1 week wonders to choose from here. So, Ron, which one did you go with? Why? And let's talk about this young man's future.
Yeah, we got the guy that you mentioned, Bhayshul Tuten, and we went with Travis Etienne in one of our props to get over 14 and a half carries. He got 14, so didn't quite get there for us. But one of the things that Tank Bigsby getting traded out of town meant was that they had faith in Bhayshul Tuten and they wanted to get him the ball. And it was a guy that showed flashes in the preseason as well. So we kind of saw this coming. But again, it meant him getting traded meant a little bit more workload we thought for Travis Etienne, but we also thought it would be for Tuten as well. And so he got 8 carries for 42 yards, averaged 5.3 a carry. The guy's got 4.3 speed coming out of college. I looked up his comparison in his scouting report just to see. I was like, look at those
Mm-hmm.
NFL.com scouting combine comparisons, and they compare him to Isaiah Pacheco. The dude's fast. He runs hard. I just hope he gets a little bit more run than Isaiah Pacheco does. But the thing that got him the clutch game, the thing that got him in that category was that 2 for 32 and that passing touchdown. So
Yeah.
again, you say what you want about Liam Coleman with the Duval, but the dude can call an offensive game. The dude knows
Mm-hmm.
what he's doing. He gets his guys involved. And again, they were right there with the Bengals. They only lost by 4. Kind of a questionable call going forward on 4th and 5. But again, I only think that this guy gets more and more touches. I mean, he got double-digit touches last week. And if you're looking for a guy for a flex that's not taken up,
Mm-hmm.
I'd throw some fab at this dude because they're going to want to get him to football at least 10 to 12 times a game if the game script is right. And in the passing situations, I think he ends up becoming the guy as well that they're going to
Yeah.
look to go with also.
Which is surprising because I thought ETN's thing
Right.
was he was the pass
Yeah.
catcher. Now they got two ETNs, I guess.
Yeah.
But getting the job done and nice clutch game for him this week. See if that happens moving forward. All right, move to the running back position, Ron, and some big weeks this week at the wide receiver position. We've had guys. Wandale Robinson finally came out of nowhere, had a huge game, mostly because of Russell Wilson. Troy Franklin in there for Denver. Hunter Renfrow for Carolina. Moving down the list, still in the clutch game world, Diomi Brown for Jacksonville. Devontae Walker for Baltimore with his 2 touchdowns, which pained me because I had Zay Flowers. Cavante Turpin for Dallas. Keep moving down. Tyquan Thornton with that big bomb that he caught from Patrick Mahomes, Parker Washington. Yeah, that's right. There was 3 Jacksonville Jaguar wide receivers. No, I shouldn't say that. There were 2, and the amazing thing is none of them were Brian Thomas Jr. nor Travis Hunter. So talk about those painful happenings. That was one if you owned either one, which I really don't own a lot. So I was okay with that. So that takes us down to Troy Horton probably snuck in there at 11.2. But a lot of guys in there. We usually see a lot more at the wide receiver position because it's usually somebody like a Tyquan Thornton that's a deep threat, catches 1 or 2 passes a game. But if he catches that one for a touchdown, it's usually over 50 yards. But I had to, first thing I thought of when I saw Hunter Renfrow's name was the Monty Python sketch in Holy Grail where they're talking about bring out your dead. And the guy that they're trying to put on the cart says, but I feel better. And I think that's exactly what they basically brought 2 weeks ago Hunter Renfrow out of the fantasy grave. And is he the new Adam Thielen? Is he going to be that security blanket that Bryce Young used so well last year as Adam Thielen? I know they got, McMillan and Leggett, but man, I watched a lot of. I shouldn't say I watched the game, but I saw a lot of it because it was the late game, and it was on Red Zone, so they were going to that game quite a bit because they were trying to make a comeback against the Cardinals, and I'm like, he's looking at Renfrow almost all the time because most teams are trying to double team McMillan. And like I said, that touchdown pass was like beautiful. Just he made a cut, boom, caught it. 2 guys collided, fell to the ground, and just laid there for 15 minutes. So the guy's smart. He's got great hands. He's kind of that Fred Biletnikoff kind of player, just knows how to get open. He's a 3rd and 5 guy to get you 6 yards. He could be something that may be worth picking up. Again, if you got a deep, like us, Kings Classic, we got the big flexes, deep bench. I know that they're not going to throw, but they are going to be behind a lot. They still have a terrible defense, obviously. What are your thoughts on Hunter Renfrow? Is he back from the dead? Is he worthy of a pickup in a league that you may need a flex guy or a couple flexes?
I mean, if it's a deeper league, I think you have to. And Hunter Renfrow had a couple of nice seasons with the Raiders, but one of the things it seems like that fixes what ails you is getting sent away from the Raiders. Like you can go down the list of guys that you wear out your time with the Raiders and you go somewhere else. You're like, hallelujah. I don't care if it's Carolina. I don't care if it's New Orleans. I don't care where it is. It's not the Raiders. And again, it's one of those things too. We'll talk about a guy at tight end that could be also another security blanket for Bryce Young, but Bryce Young. It was okay first week. I mean, not great, but it looked pretty solid yesterday. I mean, again, a lot of it was garbage time stuff, and but he's got some weapons there. And like you said, one of the key things for me is that defense is terrible, so they're going to have to throw. So there's going to be opportunities for everybody, I think. There, you got a couple of question marks in like Xavier Leggett and the rest of the receivers, but McMillan is clearly the guy that he wants to throw to, as he should be. But he's got a couple of nice options there, and Renfro's one. I mean, we were well out of the slot. He's just that steady, like you said, just kind of 5 yards. Here's a first down. Here's a catch on 3rd down and 3. And he's going to get those. I think he's going to get those clutch games, but he's going to get those sneaky clutch games that you're not going to expect. And that's perfect, exactly perfect what you want out of those flex spots.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have the 2 touchdown catches, right? So we take 12 points off. He's 11.8. He had 7 catches for 48 yards. That's what I see more Renfrow being. But 11.8 is a clutch game. So if he gets 12 to 15 points a week, that's good enough for a flex spot.
And we always talk about it's in Kings Classic, those 3 flexes. You want to try to get double digits. That's right there in that sweet spot of what you want to get.
Right. So if you're in a league, 12 team, especially 14 team, where you've got a flex or a 2 spot, I think Renfrow's a great add to get in there, get that double digits every week. Again, he's not going to set the world on fire. He's not going to be top 36 and probably total points, but the consistency is going to make a difference. And this is the guy I think you can rely on. So, Ron, we're going to move to the tight end position. And as you mentioned, it's another Carolina Panther. Before I get to you, though, I do want to talk about that game yesterday. Bryce Young still doesn't throw the ball well. He had Sanders open in the end zone, and he had to throw it. It had to be 3 feet over his head. I mean, it wasn't even close. I think Sanders is like 6'5". I mean, he's a tall tight end. He
Yeah.
was stretching as high as he could. The ball still, he couldn't touch it. And I'm like, oh, dude, he had him open. Which would have taken away the Renfrow touchdown, but still. But he definitely, again, 7 catches, 54 yards. I don't know if it's 7 catches every week, but like you said, it's definitely one of these scenarios where, okay, if he's got to look elsewhere, it's Renfrow or Sanders. If Sanders can get 5 catches for 54 yards a week, that's a clutch game for tight ends, gang. It's usually around 8.5 to 9 points. So if you can get 10 points a week, that's a solid tight end spot. I mean, Kelsey had 10.1 last week. He was 4 for 61. He's earned 2 clutch games. He's not setting the world on fire, which is making me very angry. So, I might be grabbing a Jettavian Sanders out there at this point to, help my spot, because the other guy was Njoku and he hasn't been doing much because they have a Harold Finn. So we'll see. But Ron, talk about your thoughts on Jettavian Sanders. Your thoughts moving forward. Is he good enough to be at least maybe a backup tight end with a flex, or either a flex or maybe a backup tight end role as down the road kind of thing?
I think so, because they play in a division. The Saints are right there in the bottom 10 in the league, allowing fantasy points to the tight end early. The Buccaneers are in the bottom half, and they play in that division. Like we said, they're going to have to throw the football because that defense is terrible. And when you look at the schedule, they got a couple of defenses coming up outside of the division that aren't real strong against the tight end. They got the Patriots coming up. Of course, the Cowboys, we saw what they did. They allowed everybody and their mom to have a touchdown catch on Sunday. So you don't know if they can defend them or not. But they've got a couple teams coming up that I think if you need, especially when those bye weeks start to hit in a few weeks, you could definitely put him in as a backup tight end, or maybe even if it's the right matchup in the flex spot. Because I don't have a ton of confidence in the schedule they got coming up. Like I said, they got the Saints, they got the division teams who can allow some points, but they've also got the Niners coming up. They've got the Rams coming up, so they got a couple of tough defenses. But the thing that I like is you got to like that 9 targets again. In games that they're going to have to throw the football, he's going to have to get it out. And like you said, Bryce Young looks better at times, and then there's times like you said where he's chucking it to the top row in the bleachers. So again, I like the fact too that out of those 9 targets, he was able to catch 7 of them, and then the one target was not his fault. So really, only really had one that you can kind of chalk up to was
Mm-hmm.
miscommunication or whatever it was. But again, I think you can do a lot worse out there. But you guys all know that when we get to the tight end portion of the program, it's just not great, and it's just kind of a dart throw. I mean, I'm looking at some of these guys that that got the clutch game this week, and as you go down the stats, you got guys like Adam Troutman, you got guys like Brock Wright. You got guys like Luke Farrell, guys that just randomly score a touchdown and probably squeaked in with a clutch game. Yeah, it's random dudes, and then you got guys that you're counting on that haven't done squat. So it's anybody's best guess with the tight end position, but I think you can do a lot worse than Jettavian Sanders.
Yeah, and I mean the Tucker Kraft thing is just blowing me away. Like, I had him ranked, I think 9th or 10th,
Yeah.
but I had heard rumors like the only reason he did well last year was because Musgrave was out, and now they were going to share. And I was just like, okay, yeah. And this guy's just setting the world on fire, and I'm like, what? But here we are. Yeah, no, and I mean, heck, Zach Ertz was second with 18.4 fantasy points. So it's a hot mess. And Juwan Johnson, last week's 1 week wonder, who I didn't think would even sniff a clutch game, it came back, was 4th again this week, almost matched his last week. It was 15.8 last week, and he was in 1st. This week he was 15.9, and he's in 4th because we had some bigger games. But yeah, the other guys, like you mentioned, are just not pulling their weight at all. Laporta with 5.6. Brent Strange 4.7, Evan Ingram, who I thought was back and healthy, 2.2, Hunter Henry 1.9, Mark Andrews 1.4. I mean, these are guys that were drafted much higher. Like I said, Kelsey's doing okay. He's 2 for 2 in clutch games, but I think they've been about 10, 12 points. It's not been we expect the Tucker Craft lines of 124 and a touchdown for Travis Kelce. And then he had that one that hit off his hands when he should have caught for a touchdown, bounced as an interception, and they ended up losing. I was expecting more focus out of him. He certainly looked very pissed off when he walked off the field, but the only person who can fix him is him. So we got to hope that he gets back in line.
Well, you knew it wasn't going to go well when he was wearing the suit with the shorts, not the pants, the shorts and dress shoes. You knew it wasn't going to go well when he showed up in that fit, and it was just downhill
Yeah,
from there.
yeah. I mean, fashion is fashion, but not everybody can be Joe Cool. But then now he's got a bad, almost a. How do you have a turf toe that's so bad that it's not broken? I don't understand that.
I don't
But
know, Ben.
he has a grade 3 turf toe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people. And he's going to have surgery on it, which I guess you have to. He's got to be able to run. But wouldn't it just be easier to cut the toe off and just start next week? I mean, come on.
Ronnie Lott style. Ronnie Lott's done it with the pinky, man.
That's right. Yeah. I know definitely a couple guys that I remember had their pinky toe cut off because it's like, I don't use it anyway. Anyway, so it is what it is. Well, thanks for being back. We'll be here every week talking about this. Once we get a little more into it, like I said, we'll start using the fantasy consistency forecaster tool to kind of look out the next number of weeks for players. That'll be very helpful. And you can obviously get that just by subscribing to the site for only $20. So Ron, tell everybody what you'll be working on this week, as always, on the site and podcasts and all kinds of great stuff, and where they can follow you on Twitter. Do you have a card, though, for us?
I don't. I didn't bring one. I had to throw this together real quick. So that just means I'm going to have two for you next week. It's going to be a double week next week. So I got some good stuff in the hopper, though, for you. Don't worry. I'm not going to let you down. So at Ron Rigney on the X, as always. You mentioned the consistency forecaster tool. That's what I've been using to do the start sit. I started it last week. Had to get a week of data to get in there to use it. Using it this week coming up, and again, it's one of the best things on that site. We got a lot of great stuff over there, but when you can sort a player and look at trends from the last 3 years against away teams, good defenses, bad defenses, it's a great thing. It's easy to use, and it's accurate. Like it tells you what you need to know. And so I'll be having that out this week. Of course, coming up on Saturday, we're gonna there'll be whatever combination of us on the DFS and on the prop bets, but no matter who out of the two out of the three it is, we're gonna have it for you. We got to get this thing on track, man. My prop bets, I don't know that I've hit one yet. It's been ugly out there, kids.
Come on.
I know it's been ugly. I'm not the prop bet guy. That's you. That's you and Colby. I'm stepping in uncharted territory there, but hopefully we can get back on track with the DFS as well. But again, get that $20 spent. Get over at BigGuyFantasySports.com. All the great stuff coming out daily, weekly. We got it all right there for you.
Got it. All right. As usual, you can find me on Twitter at Bob_Lung. As Ron said, all kinds of great stuff. James, Colby, Ron, myself, I'll be here all week bringing you all the great stuff. If you didn't get a chance to hear all the show, all good. Check out the article. It'll be on tonight for the 1 Week Wonders. And good luck to everybody playing tonight. And we will see you next Monday, for Week 3's 1 Week Wonders. Who will they be? How did Week 1 and 2 do? We'll find out next week. For Ron Rigney, I'm Bob Long. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.